House of Dreams. That's
okay, you guys saw that I had a jacket on because of academia. Now we take it off. We get down. We're getting down. Okay? But it is John Barbados. So, spare no expense for you guys. So I think we're going to dive in. Tobin, do you have any interesting jokes or anything you'd like to tell to start this evening off, or should I just jump right in?
We'll jump right in, but I want to thank you guys for coming out. Tobin Wagstaff, founder of Student Professional Dance Center. I know a lot of you, and we don't have a big crowd, but actually that kind of makes it more intimate and fun for some people. We're filming tonight, but it won't be published anywhere. It's just, I'm going to hand a copy over to Dr. Broadway so we can share it with the university students. But here's something I definitely want you guys to leave with. Rich has a lot of stuff to give you that's going to be awesome. But what I really hope that you guys do is you talk about how awesome this is to all of your friends, all your professional buddies and everything, so that we can try to encourage the university and the local community to try to build more momentum behind getting clinicians like Rich coming in. This community is starved of it, and that's ridiculous because there's so many great opportunities here for students to learn that we bring, but people don't find out about it unless you tell them. And we can only do what we can do. So anyway, this guy's awesome. Have fun with it. Thank you, Rich.
Thanks for bringing me here, bud. Thank you.
Man.
Tobin Wagstaff, everybody. Does everybody know my friend Tom Hurst? Let's hear it for Tom Hurst right here, teaching at the university, doing his master's. Some of you guys drove an hour. Thank you so much for being here. We met via Instagrams and face Twitters and all that. So guys, I'm here for whatever, 60, 75, 90, 120 minutes, whatever you want to do. This is more like a masterclass environment, which is great because if you are hungry to know who's in college right now. We got 2 college grads. And then what do you guys do? Okay, so what do you got? You drummer?
I'm actually a saxophone player.
Thank you for coming here. Because you know what I would do? If I wasn't a drummer, I would circle with read and I would get up all these ladies and I would just it's like, everybody has a career fantasy. I'd rather be maybe a sitcom actor and an alto sax with the vest and no shirt for me. So grease all up and everything. It's like, no, it's amazing. And I'll tell you what, Kenny G, he owns like 50% of Starbucks. He only plays because he wants to. And that is awesome. That's commitment. I'll tell you what, to play Songbird, that may come. All right, so who else? You guys are youngsters. You're just starting your musical journey, right? I got a book for you. I just wrote a book for young kids. You guys gotta pick it up. I wish I had a copy. I'll give it to you right now. And then I kind of know you're starting working in retail, playing. Yeah. Okay, great. Are you playing in a band? Okay. Well, that's one of the first things we're gonna have to take care of here. Hopefully, we'll get you in the band.
I'm a drummer.
You're a drummer too. Thank you for coming, guys back there. Well, I know those are my Marvel helpers. Spider-Man. Okay, and then you guys are all players, and looking to get to the next level, right? Be a side man, like a Dirk Spence player, Carrie Underwood. Preferably Carrie, right? The legs. Okay, so that's kind of what this thing is about, man. This is what I call my crash course of success. I've done this event for kindergartners. I've done it for Fortune 500 companies. I've done it for big 5A high schools. And it's just pretty much this global idea that I am committed to everything I do. I honor the relationships in my life. I try to have a winning attitude. I develop my skills, and I am still hungry at my halfway point. What's up, guys? How you doing? Hey, you're late, but I won't hold it against you because we just started. And it's intimate, so you get this. Okay. So really, this is do a little bit of playing and do some philosophizing, and I'm here for you. You guys want to know anything? Boxer briefs, whatever. It's all there, okay? So it is true, because here I am in a band hall. I'll give you guys a little bit of background on my journey in the music business. I started playing drums 1976. Dinosaurs roamed the earth. I had to fight T-Rex to get to my lessons. And, the teacher taught me how to hold the sticks, right? Okay, Rich. It's like a cue card. Phil Donahue here. First joint of the first finger, right? Thumb, okay? Directly across. I could put a pin through that. I don't recommend you doing that. That's your fulcrum, right? And then right here, and I keep my little mouth puppet there. And then you see the mountain and the river. That's how I describe it to the little guys, right? That's right where the stick goes. I see this a lot, where the stick is actually extending beyond the palm of the hand, and this is going against natural body mechanics, right? When you see somebody play a djembe or a cajon, they're playing with their hands. It's just an extension of their physical body. So you don't want the stick to get in the way. You want it to work for you. Use your body. So in this way, the stick is truly in line, like I'm fencing, right? Or I'm an octopus or something. It's an extension of my body. So that's what I learned. I learned about grip. I learned about technique. I learned about playing the rudiments. Most importantly, I learned how to read music. And for you college kids, you know how important this is. You know, and reading music has saved me time and time and time again. And my friend Tom here will tell you, we moved to Nashville the same year, 1997, 1998, and we were, you know, pursuing our dreams, taking everything we could possibly take. We were, you know, I could say that I played bar mitzvahs, I played bat mitzvahs, I played supermarket grand openings, I played strip clubs, I played biker bars, I played divorce parties, weddings, corporate functions, I've kicked jokes for comedians, I've backed up magicians, I've done community theater, playhouse, I was a freeze model. I did it all, you know, because the idea was that I wanted to play music. And before someone even said, Rich, you know, it pays, I didn't care what it paid. I was going to take the job. And the great thing about reading music is that it levels the playing field. Because the first job I got in Nashville, someone called me and they said, Rich, we do 5 sets, 45 on, 15 on, 45 on, 15 on, 45 on, 15 on. You got to learn 60 songs. There's no rehearsal. We're leaving the day after tomorrow. So I stay up all night, and I got my Betty Crocker cards, and I'm scribbling out the notes, the rhythms, the form, you know, the geography of the song. And there's no way, if you don't know how to read music, you're going to be able to learn 60 songs without a rehearsal. So still to this day, every band that has opened up for my band, like this guy named Jason, I think anybody come to the show tomorrow night at the O'Connell basketball? Okay. Well, I'm going to be there, whether you're there or not. I'm going to play, like it's the last time I'm ever going to play my instrument. And, you know, everybody that's ever opened up for us, the drummer hurts himself. The drummer says, there's death in the family, or somebody has a bizarre water skiing accident, or somebody's playing basketball and they break their foot, and somebody comes and says, Rich, you're going on tonight. Halfway Hazard needs a drummer. Rich, you're going on tonight. The drummer in Thompson Square broke his toes. And I'm like, what? When is the show? An hour. Okay, in an hour. So I get like, you know, I played on the record, but I don't remember what the heck. So I'm writing everything out. I go out, I have a little Tamar rhythm watch, I got my in-ear monitors, I put my vest on, I go out there, and no one knows that I'm not the drummer at Thompson Square. I'm like a character actor, but the only reason I could do it in that amount of time is reading the music. And so, say you guys, do you guys read music? You guys will read a little bit of music, but you want it to be such a muscle that you can hear something. I mean, reading music has ruined like listening to music for enjoyment for me, because I'm listening to the radio and I'm freaking transcribing the song in my head on a piece of paper, because out of survival I played tens of thousands of songs in different styles. So that is something that I learned along the way. Yeah, and then I moved to Texas when I was 11 years old, and Texas has this great music education program, and I'm a product of music education. That's why I believe in music education. So starting in the 5th grade, I was the guy that learned, okay, you play the bass drum, and it's all about that touch, and you can change the sound by where you hit the bass drum. And when you play you guys get the bell kit you take home, you take the bells, and there's 2 different sides. There's the hard side and there's the soft side, and you got to pull that sound out of it, you know? And playing tambourines, where you hit the tambourine. When you play a cymbal roll, the way you select the mallets that you play, you have to warm up the cymbal, and you wait all night, and you're like 5,003, 5,004, adjust my bow tie. It's got to be the best thing that's ever happened, because you're counting 5,002, you know, and that's when I decided, because I studied classical percussion. You know, I ended up getting my master's degree, so I studied timpani, I studied four mallet and marimba technique, I studied vibraphone, I marched for 8 years, 4 years in high school, 4 years in college. I studied the world of percussion, and yes, that definitely helps in my pursuit of being a pop country western drummer based in Nashville, Tennessee. The way I approach tone, time, technique, musicianship, everything came from following this path. So is there a relationship between getting a sound out of a timpani and being able to get touch and pull the sound out of a set of tom-toms? If we can just go boom, boom, ding, ding, boom, spat, boom, studying hymn. Okay, so it all works together. So that's kind of like my life path. You know, when I was in college at Texas Tech University, I took every ensemble every semester. So every semester I was in a new music ensemble. I was in the pep band, I was in the marching band, I was in the symphonic band, I was in the orchestra, I was in the steel drum ensemble, I was in the percussion ensemble, I was in jazz trio, and I was in the big band. It was like 8 ensembles every semester, and I played and I played and I played. Oh, and by the way, I got to go through algebra. You know, but that's what the great thing about college is it teaches you about persistence and time management and follow through and all the things you need to know in the real world. And some of these skills will help you beat that person. If there is such thing as an audition, I can tell you that Tom and I, like in the pop rock world, it really does come down to relationships. I want to talk about that. I can't remember the last time there was a major audition. The last time I heard about it was maybe like 5 years ago. Lady Gaga was having this big global audition, like, I want to go play with the girl that wears meat, yeah. And people were flying in from Gay Paris and Guam, and they wanted to play with this meat girl, okay? And I was thinking to myself, God, I want to go do this audition just to flex that audition bone, you know? And it was on a Monday, and I was like, Mondays are usually great, but my band had a gig, right? So beggars can't be choosers there. But yeah, I mean, very seldom are there auditions happening. Usually, somebody gets called, whether it's a drummer, bass player, guitar player, and they get called by management or they get called by the artist themselves, and they become the point person. And that point person calls their favorite 5 people. They go down a list and they go, Tom, you available? Mark, you available? Rich, you available? It goes down the list. There's 5 favorite drummers, 5 favorite bass players. And you know what one of the most important things is? It's an expectation that you play well. What levels the playing field is your hang, your people skills, your personality, what you bring to the table in the sense you're going to be riding a 45-foot tube with other stinky men for 23 hours. And then you get off the bus and you play for 1 hour. And then you're like, oh, where's catering? Can I get a hot shower? But for the rest of the time, you're stuck on a tube, right? So your personal, your bedside manner. You know, like, I don't want to go to a doctor that's like, got headaches, huh? Take these. Don't call me. They're working. I want to go to the guy that's like, oh, dude, what's going on? Are you married? What's your stress like? You getting some exercise? How's your diet? And then, you know, somebody that's got that cares about the whole me. And that's how I try to approach my career. So this is my mantra for success, and I think it can work for you. It can work for soccer moms. It can work for doctors, lawyers, the midlife guy that goes, you know what? I think I want to go to the moon. That's a long shot, but he can still use these things to attract success to his life. All right. So I want to break the ice if it hasn't been broken, and I just want to play a song for you guys, man. So I do play with a guy named Jason Aldean. I want to talk to you a little bit about, man, the commitment it took to get that thing off the ground. But first, a song. It'll be a little loud. This ain't no wedding. Thank God. But I did meet a lot of nice ladies at weddings. All right, so here's a song called Dirt Road Anthem. Anything you've heard me play on the radio with Jason Aldean has never taken more than 3 takes. And I'm not patting myself on the back, it's just an expectation in Nashville. They're great songs that are written every single day, and the drummers, you got a pee-pee? I'm embarrassing him. And the expectation is that you get that thing done because time is money in the studio. As soon as that red light is on, some fat cat's money with the cigar is being spent, okay? All right, here we go. Yes. Oh my God, that's the wrong song. Not the thong song, the wrong song. good tech. It's a drunk bro, man.
John Johnson again.
Jeez. I love it. DW comes with all these locking points, which is amazing. But sometimes when you play that aggressively. You guys see the commitment? I wear it on my sleeve like a badge of honor. I'm going to play for you like it's the last time I'm ever going to play, right? Because there's two ways I want to go out in this world. This way, maybe another way, I don't know. Use your imagination, adults. But either way, it's cool with me. I just tell you what, I'll take this any day. This is my passion. This is what defines me as a human being. This is how I express myself. This is a gift. This is what gets me excited about getting up every day, playing my instrument every day. It gives me that much joy all these years later. And, you know, I have a friend of mine. He says, Rich, you know what? He says, you got a strut. I said, what, a strut? He says, yeah, when you get within 5 feet of your instrument, you get like a strut. I said, really? He said, yeah, I call it the Redmond strut. I was like, wow, I have a strut named after me. Just because this is what I do. It gives me utter confidence in life. This is my purpose, right? So this is my mobile office. It's taken me to 14 countries, right? I've gotten to play the drums in the weirdest places. The Red Sea, Macedonia. I'm going to Oslo next year. I brought in New Year's Eve in Newfoundland. I've been to South Korea, Japan, Colombia. I rode around in like a bulletproof van because we were playing for like the U.S. Embassy, and like the glass was that thick, you know, and they had to put like mirrors underneath the vans. When apparently there's a bad cocaine problem there. I don't know. It's you know, there was kids in the streets with like automatic weapons. I don't know. But I've gotten to do some incredible things because I've just made a commitment to this. You know, I put in the 12,000 hours. If you read that book by Malcolm Gladwell, great philosopher in our modern day, he says that anybody who has a high skill level, a mastery, somebody that can call themselves an expert, has put in the 12,000 hours. So I did the work, I did the math. And 12,000 hours it's actually not that bad. You just got to do it when you're young. It's 8 hours a day, 365 days a year for 5 years, okay? I mean, I may have done that in college. I may have gotten close in college, and then what did I do from 1976 to going to college in 1988? Lots of practicing. I didn't have a youth, you know. I wasn't the go out for a pass guy. I found out really early that this is what I was going to do, and maybe I didn't have all the natural ability. I had some natural ability. I just leveled the playing field with hard work, and the person that works hard will always beat the person with natural ability who just says, I got this. You can definitely level that playing field by putting in the hard work, and it feels good, you know. I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, so I made that commitment. Play, practice, because there's always going to be somebody better than you, but it's just a tough industry. Anything in the arts, dancing, poetry, you want to write screenplays, you want to direct films, you want to write songs. It's just a massively difficult thing. So much competition, you know. So to get your name out there, and the tools exist today for you to actually promote yourself, you know, because I'm running a business. No one's going to hire me to hear my drumming unless they buy me first. They have to buy into me as a human being before they even want to hear me go ting, 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 right? I mean, the mailman can do that. I can show the mailman how to go ting, 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 and have him playing a casual an hour later. But how do you elevate it to a high art to where somebody wants to say, you know what? I'm doing a demo session. I got to get it done in October. When do you have time? And you say, I can do the 19th, the 20th, or the 28th. And they go, 28th, lock it in. And to get to that point, took a lot of work, a lot of follow through, a lot of commitment, getting out of bed every day, getting dirty. I had day jobs. I waited tables. I was a courier. I did construction. I was a barista. What else did I do? I substitute taught. That's hard when you play to 3 in the morning in a club. You get home at 4 in the morning. You wash the cigarette smoke out of your hair. You put on your khakis, and you go, Mr. Rabbit, wow, that's a long day. But I made that commitment to see that through. I had a vision for myself. And part of that commitment was, okay, a lot of people say, I want to be successful in the music business. You're not going to do it in Fargo, North Dakota. Geography counts. You really have to get to where the action is. And a lot of people say, well, there's Austin, Texas, there's Chicago, there's Miami, there's Seattle. Yeah, but there's secondary markets. There's 3 places you can go, and only 3 places you can go to really further your career. New York, LA, or Nashville. That's where the party is. You have to be present to win. You know, we went to school, I went to school with a guy named Mark Trojanowski, and he plays in a band called Sister Hazel. And he went to North Texas State, he got himself a good education, he learned all the stuff, and then somehow he hooked up with this great band, and they hit. And that was, I would say that's the exception to the rule, because, and back in the day, see, a rock band could break from pretty much anywhere, right? But if you want to, say you want to play country music, it's only happening in one place. The machinery is in Nashville. There's somebody that gets paid a salary to write songs. His song needs a drummer. It needs to be demoed. In other words, it needs to have a full band to flesh out his ideas. That's a whole cottage industry. Then the demo gets heard by a fat cat who's in an office. He's like, yeah, Keith Urban's looking for some new songs. And there's this songwriter, and he writes the songs, and I come in and play, or Tom comes in and play on this song, and people hear it, and then the band gets put together to actually record it for real, so you can go buy it at Target or Walmart, or download it to your little silly device. And then a band needs to be put together. And then the trucks get loaded, and then there's a booking agent, and there's a manager, and more people with cigars pointing and yelling at each other, and then there's this whole cottage industry. And that's what they call the big machinery. That's why Taylor Swift's label is called Big Machine, because that is that big machine. Same thing in Hollywood. There's a guy slaving over, and I've seen this guy, every time I go to get coffee in Los Angeles, there's a guy working on a script, and he's got to figure out a way to slip that script to the right person. Maybe he's a waiter, most likely, and he spills the guy's drink on the, and the guy goes, oh, what is, he slips it to the guy. You've got to go for it, man. You've got to be committed to make it happen and do anything to make it happen within a moral code, right? Like, I wasn't going to do the full Monty or anything, but I was going to, every time I play, I'm playing because I know somebody's going to walk through that door that is influential, that's a tastemaker, somebody that can actually help me in my cause. And if I'm just mailing it in, the most important person in my life is going to see me mail it in. So you can't, I've done gigs literally vomiting and crapping out of my backside at the same time because the show must go on. And everyone's like, oh yeah, the drummer, what are you? But people really do appreciate you when you get sick and they realize, oh no, the drummer is sick. The drum tech doesn't know the show. The other guys in the other bands don't know the show. My drummer, oh my God, let's call the rock doc. You know what the rock doc is? It's this dude with a little bag. He comes to the arena, and he's like, and he comes and he opens up, and he's got syringes, and his idea is to make it so that musician can get through that show at night at all costs. And believe me, the bill is big. But they will pay for the rock doc when the drummer is sick. So the drummer can make or break a band. It's the most important position. I've seen a very average sounding band be elevated to the heavens by a great drummer. And I've seen a great band be destroyed by an unmusical drummer that doesn't play dynamics, that doesn't play good time, that doesn't listen, that doesn't play phrases, he doesn't play musically. That's the most important thing you can do is make a commitment to be a musical drummer. Play phrases. In the wrong hands, this is a weapon. There's been a couple of drummers in history that's been close to sounding like a bulldozer or like a Panzer coming through Germany, But for the most part, you really have to go out of your way to make this sound like a musical instrument because it's noise. So you have to organize it in a way that's musical. So playing dynamics. Those crazy Italians, my people, they say, hey, Luigi, it's a pianissimo. It's a very, very soft. And you get the piano, it's a soft. And you get the mezzo piano, it's a kind of soft. You get the mezzo forte, it's a kind of la, Luigi. Forte. Fortissimo. Right? So you have, right? I got a 6.5 here, I'm not used to that. Okay? And so those are 5 dynamic levels, 1 surface. And you can treat every part of the drum set like that, the way you put it together, right? Okay. So you should be able to play You Are the Sunshine of My Life, this Stevie Wonder, the modified bossa nova. You should be able to play it. Very, very soft, all right? And you should also be able to play it very, very loud, like Taylor Hawkins played the same beat in a Foo Fighters song. Now, people get on me for playing loud. It's not loud. I'm playing with emotion. And I will tell you this. You know the song Flyover States? It was the #1 song. The verse is... That's loud, right? That's loud, Luigi. But in an arena for 20,000 people, you have to adjust your dynamic spectrum. So that's my verse, and then the chorus becomes... And then people say, well, why all this? Why all the big muscles, okay? I wish my muscles were bigger, but you have to work really hard at it over 40. So here I am endangering this rotator cuff for the glory of music. Okay, so this is for the people in the back row that want to be entertained, right? But when I get within a foot of my drum, the old classical technique kicks in. Hit it and quit it. I get in and I get out. I get off the drum. Same thing on the toms. I barely hold on to the sticks. That's why I have a stick holder here, I have a stick holder here, I have a stick bag, I have sticks. I'm surrounded by sticks. Because you know how you get a look in a band when you're playing rock music? When you do this. If you miss that backbeat, you are going to get the worst, ugliest, what is wrong with you? Are you stupid? Look. And I'm listening to guys make just blowing seafood chunk clams all over the music all night long. I'm playing thousands of backbeats, and I miss one, and I get the dirty look. But the idea is to be, that thing has got to be like a hammer, right? And so that's why you play with a metronome. What's a metronome? You go and you buy a Tama rhythm watch, and it's just bit-doo, 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 or just you got bit, bit, or flip it, bit, bit. A lot of space to mess up in there, right? And you do that. My approach to practicing is method. I am very methodical. So if I'm going to play boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, I'm going to play that. I'm going to play all my AC/DC records. I'm going to play all my ABBA records. I'm going to play all my Michael Jackson records. I'm going to play all my John Mellencamp records. I'm going to play new wave greatest hits, because if you can play boom, smack, boom with authority and conviction and time and dynamics, that's your ticket to success. Somebody will fly you around the world on their dime. And some days it will be Rotel and sweaty cheese, and other days it will be, right this way, Mr. Red. Seriously, you go in through the front door of buildings. Seriously, when I was playing weddings and bar mitzvahs, I only smelled the grease fryer and the trash bin, and I was like, it smells like $100. And you go in through the kitchen with your rock and roller, and you're like, hey, what's going on, Charlie? Hey, pass me one of those fries, or what are those hush puppies? You know, and you got your tux on, and you do the whole thing, and you hope you get some greasy tortellini and, meet a bridesmaid or something, right? But my goal was to go through the front door, right? Maybe there's a red carpet, maybe there's an orange carpet, I don't care. But the idea is that I was committed to making that happen, and I saw it through, and there was roadblocks along the way, and there were doors that were slammed in my face, and it didn't matter because I was motivated by rejection. You have to fall in love with rejection as somebody who wants to be in the arts. I literally knocked on every door on Music Row. I still do it. I'm still not done trying to convince people that I'm cool. And 10 years ago, people wouldn't call me, and now I'm at the top of their call list. I still play the same, maybe I'm more mature, I'm still playing the same money beats, right? But the funny thing about drummers and musicians, if we're not the front person, we're only as cool as the front person that we're attached to. So if the front person you're playing for has multiple platinum records, you're all of a sudden a cool guy and you know what you're doing, and it's just the way it is. It's like when you're an actor. You can't get an acting job until you get a SAG card, but you can't get a SAG card until you get an acting job. And you just got to figure it out, okay? So commitment, and I just try to play from the heart, and I tell my students, play from the heart because it'll set you apart. You don't want to be the person that's like, even as I wrote this little book, it's just out, it's an Amazon bestseller in 4 countries, guys, you got to get it. It's called Fundamentals of Drumming for Children ages 5 to 10. But the system teaches you to count rhythms, play the money beats, and read music. So a 40-year-old man having a midlife crisis that wants to buy his first drum set can use the same method. But the idea behind playing is that to have fun with it and play from the heart. Because you don't want to be this guy. Rock exercise number 1A. 1, 2, 3. And next! Where's the heart? Where's the emotion? Where's the grease? Where's the humanity? Right? And so I model somebody like Sean Pelton, this guy who plays on Saturday Night Live for the last 20 years. He can play the simplest things, but every note he plays is coming from his very loins. It's coming from below the belt. You know, he can play you can't even count that. It just feels good though, right? I don't even know if I did it justice. Or when Gad just plays a swing thing and he's just like, sometimes I'll just leave the stick in the cymbal. Just letting everybody know that is the quarter note, and the quarter note is the king. Tom and I have a friend, Aiden Bubeck. He's the guy that plays with Miranda. He's got a giant mohawk, right? I went to North Texas State with him, and we sat around for hours trying to sound like cool jazzers with our mullets. And I had a Dave Weckl mullet, man. Ooh. Went to salon all the time for that thing. And we were just trying to learn how to play 1950s jazz. And then I saw him 20 years later, and he's got this great gig with Miranda Lambert. And I said, dude, you know what I love about you? You respect the quarter note. And if you respect the quarter note, you can play any kind of music. You can play classical music. You can play in a Greek wedding band, bless you. You can play in a new wave tribute band, and you wear spectacles, and like you can do whatever you want because you honor the quarter note. He goes, wow, I respect the quarter. Next time I see him, he's got this freaking huge tattoo with a giant quarter note that says respect. I'm like, dude, I didn't tell you to disfigure your body. He's like, dude, I'm committed. That's awesome. The quarter note. The quarter note is everything, you know. Okay, so food for thought. Okay, so I'm gonna put any questions about any of this, and play with conviction. You know, when I was in the high school band, I looked up to the stage. I was in a stage band. I was a freshman or a sophomore, and I looked up to the senior trumpet player, and he was killing. He played like Maynard, really committed to his craft. And he said, Rich, you know what? You got a lot to work on, but I love your conviction. Don't ever lose your conviction. You know, in other words, he was telling me when I was playing, I was in it. Okay, so commit yourself to that moment in time and to the journey. And whatever you want to do in life, write it down. Because until you write it down, it's just floating around in the ether. You got to grab that thing. You got to set pen to paper, and you got to write it down, laminate it, put it in the refrigerator, put it on the microphone, put it in your back pocket. I hope some of you would go home and go, Command the Relationship, Attitude, Skill, and Hunger. Laminate it, put it in your wallet. 20 years later, go, damn, Redmond was right. I use these things, and now I'm the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Could happen. Could happen, okay? Any questions about any of this stuff? You guys are just too fun, man. Too fun. Okay, how about another song? And this is going to be... this is going to honor what I call the money beats. I'm going to play 2 bars of each of these grooves for you guys. If you can play these grooves at any tempo and make it feel good, or play dynamics, you can play with anybody in the world, and somebody will put you on salary to play these beats. I'm going to play 2 bars of these grooves. There's a handout, okay? Here we go. Okay, so those are your basic relationships. Okay, now how can you practice that? You can practice that by programming the exact beat. And when you're listening on your headphones, if your drums sound exactly like the drum machine, then you're killing it. You can program a hand clap on 2 and 4. You can program a beat that's kind of around the guy I have living in my head. I have a guy living in my head, his name is Jose. And he's with me at all times. Like he's like, we're gonna play great tonight, man. Me and you, then we're gonna go get margaritas afterwards. But every time I'm playing something, I'm thinking like, I'm thinking, Jose's like, dude, I'm subdivided at all times. Kick butt on that marimba. Congratulations, keep in touch. So yeah, even if you're playing just the most basic troglodyte beat, like. I'm thinking. I took out just that subtle little tweak. I took out those 2 little 16th notes, changed the whole trajectory of the groove. Okay, so these are all things you could do with the groove. You could look at the things I could do with the hi-hat. Okay, I'm just going to play a country side stick on 2 and 4 so you can see the relationship here. And I'm just going to play the Phil Spector beat, which is number 2. And you see some of the things I could do with the hi-hat to change the feel. So you got. Things I could do with the hi-hat, and you haven't even really gotten into. And I'm playing different parts of the stick, right? If I want to sound really muscular and kind of like caveman rock, I'll go to the shank of the stick, right? I just met Billy Idol the other day, and I just so wanted to jump in and play Rebel Yell with him. But if you're playing... You got to be patient. You don't have to do fills every 4 bars. You don't have to do them every 8 bars. So you can wait for it, and just when that fill comes, I'm totally committed to it, like it's the last fill I'm ever going to play. So I'm shank. I'm shanking the hat, right? If I want to play the same beat, it's a Carpenter song. It's going to be more tip of the stick, you know. Get me started on loosening the hi-hat. You're at the verse, the pre-chorus is coming, the thing is opening up a little bit, something's happening here. There's the chorus, loose hi-hat. All these little art and details things that makes a professional player, okay? So listening is a heavy thing. So those are your money beats, and we really even haven't gone over here yet. You go over to the ride cymbal, and you can do different things on the ride cymbal, like stuff. You can do it in the space of one song. You can use this technique across a whole set list. But this is the little detailed stuff. You know, playing percussion, you know. got to kind of stiffen up the technique a little bit. You get that thing going. A lot of people can't play a shaker. All right, so let's. Right? No accents. Slight accent on 2 and 4. How about how all accent. Right? How about. Right, you can make the long legato notes up. Oh. Right? 16th. Quarters. Me and Jose. The whistle, I wish I had the whistle. But see, this is all like art and the detailed stuff. And sometimes I will get called to play a shaker and I will make twice the amount of money playing a set of drums, because union law mandates that if you overdub percussion, it's an overdub. It's you, it's the producer, and it's a hard drive. And you have to make double scale, which means for 3 hours, I make $720 to go ting cocky talkie ta but you've got to lock perfectly with the drums. And I've done that with all the drummers in town: Chad Cromwell, Greg Morrow, Paul Lime. It's great. Lonnie Wilson, I get to hear how these guys play their parts. And then you come in, every Aldean song ever recorded has a little LP shaker, and I just play, right? And you can pull up the track just without the shaker. Okay, feels good, there's left hand, okay. Then you add this dude, and you just tuck it right underneath the hi-hat, and you're like, oh. It just brings it to life. The Red Sea is being parted. It just is night and day. So being able to play percussion is a really crucial thing. I love LP instruments. I love rhythm tech instruments. For single note stuff, I like to use a wood tambourine. So I get a Grover tambourine. It's an orchestral tambourine. I take the head off, and it's just like, it rings forever. And sometimes, you know, it's just the part as simple as and the jingles have got to ring the same every time, and it's got to lock perfectly with the cross stick, right? And sometimes you got to play real slow. Oh, God, boom. You got to do that for 3.5 minutes. Boom, God, boom, God, boom, God, boom, God. I recommend this. Play with the radio, play with your friends, record yourself, then play percussion on top. This is another skill set you can have, and you can use the relationships in your life to make. I make twice the amount of money because I fancy myself a percussionist. I'm a percussionist that plays drums. I'm also a drummer that is an okay percussionist. I do it both, so get paid twice. Any questions about any of that stuff? I was going to play another song for you guys. Yes, sir?
You said LP.
Latin percussion. It's a staple of the percussion retail world. Here's a song. It's just 4 on the Floor, which is Money Beat number 5. And it's a song that's called When She Says Baby, and I think it perfectly demonstrates that I play almost all 8th notes the entire song, but it's how I structure those 8th notes. I honor the relationships between the limbs. I balance the dynamics of the limbs. I use the colors on the drum set, tight hi-hat on the verse, loose hi-hat on the chorus. I ride the tom-toms on the bridge. And the most important thing on playing this groove is, to me, this is the most challenging groove in the world to this day to practice, because almost everything on the radio has this. Right? So when you play that, and the snare drum comes in, you don't want to be flamming. So. Trying to find that secret sauce spot for the snare drum. Our friend Matt Billingsley with Taylor Swift has to play this all night, and he has to play it with computer tracks. And he has to make those computer tracks sound human and breathe, but he also has to play incredibly near perfect, you know. He has to sound like a machine with a heart. So it's a challenging thing, and I still work on it to this day. And sometimes I'll listen to myself after a 3.5 minute song, and you can hear the little movement between the snare drum and the kick drum. And it's such an art form. And back when we were recording on tape, it wasn't a big deal because it was so warm. So you can listen to a fog hat track, and if the kick and the snare weren't right on top of each other, it was cool. It was fat. But nowadays, it just sounds like a mistake. So you have to kind of really work on it. Something to consider. Okay. Any questions about any of this? Simple stuff, right? But it's coming from here.
How exactly the same would you play the same song?
I would play it pretty close to that. You know, there's two ways of doing things. Rock bands sometimes will like the whole way for like a year. And they'll slave over every note they play. And they come up with this masterpiece, and then they go on tour. We go in for like 4 days. We play the song 3 times, maybe. We know what the song needs to get through that little window and get it on country radio, which is paint the Mona Lisa, paint the Blue Boy, try to create a work of art, but it has to fit within those rules and structure. So we execute, and then the record is done. I don't really even remember the process. The year goes by, we're already been touring the previous record still, and then the holidays come, we shut everything down for a little bit, and we go into rehearsals, and then we go and we do another 80 to 100 shows promoting that record that I don't ever really even remember recording. And once we get it on the road and we get it in front of a live audience, it starts to take on a new life. And sometimes you have a tendency to maybe play more than you should, and that's why I always listen to live recordings and I say, am I honoring what this song really needs? So, yeah, a couple of things, little change. There was like a fill, got you, boom, boom, shaka boom, got, but on the anaphor, got you, shaka boom, but I went, got you, got me, bang, still accenting that, you know, but it was just muscle memory because I played 80 shows this year, and that was something that I thought worked live. So, but the guts are there. That pattern is there. The concept of where I use the colors are there. What I would call a macro rhythm, a big picture rhythm. Like a big picture rhythm is like 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, boom, boom, you back zoom, got boom, got doom, bop zoom, got scat doom, bop zoom, got scat doom, get a show. But you know, if I was feeling really fancy like Keith Moon one night, I might go. Not as musical as going. You know what I mean? So if I'm feeling really sassy and somebody's birthday in the band, I might do that. I might do that crazy thing, and then I'll listen back to the recording and go, I should have just done that. Right? So I'm always like erring on the side of trying to be ultra musical and figuring out what is going to work. If I was recorded and I had to listen back to it, would I like what I hear? Because that's what I call it a record. It's a record of a particular performance and a particular person's lifespan, right? So the great records that live on forever, they have this, I don't know, mature quality to them. So that's what I try to do. But to me, that is just a really challenging thing, and it's easier to play. Like we have these great in-ear monitors. People are like, "What kind of in-ear monitors?" These are ultimate ears, ultimately expensive. They have like 9 drivers or something. I don't know how they get all that stuff in there. It's like the human body. How do we get all that stuff up there? I mean, I can see the colon, but the other stuff too. I mean, it's like 30 feet of intestine, and they get it all in there, and it just sounds like a symphony in your ears. I mean, it really does. And so I can hear. So when I'm setting up a mix, and this goes for anybody, like I've got the Samson mixer here. So if you're playing in a weekend warrior band, you got a Roland SPD-SX. Maybe you have a Tom Rhythm Watch. You have some in-ear monitors, maybe some drum ears, or like some Sensophonics, or something more mid-level, affordable ears. You have a mixer, $80 mixer. You're setting it up so you can play perfect time with your band, the same time every night. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, old school guys are like, I can't believe everybody's playing with a click now. But there's just so many benefits to playing with a click. If you're tired, if you're jet lagged, if you change the set list order, if you have to have lighting cues or pyro cues or mix cues, all going off the drummer playing the exact same tempo every night. For me, job security. I'd rather have the little Jose in my ear every night, and all I do is we run a little shaker from an Alesis drum machine, and literally I just have all the patterns saved, and it's just, and it's just like I'm playing with Jose. And if you can't hear Jose, you're rocking, man. We're having a great night. Okay? So something to think about. Playing with a click track, awesome. So be committed, honor relationships. I don't know if you guys can tell this, but I have a positive attitude. Okay? And it's because I've been reading books on this stuff since I was your age. My mother said, Rich, I want you to read this book on Leo Buscaglia. I want you to read this book on Tony Robbins. I want you to read this book on all the greats. I want you to understand the law of attraction. I want you to understand that it takes twice as much energy to cultivate a negative thought, right? So why even go there? Why don't you just stay in the land of rainbows and unicorns? That's where I live. I mean, there is no molasses swamp in my world. I mean, I'm not going there, okay? It's like, I'm the guy that's going to, if I'm having a bad day, I am a human, I will watch Rocky. One-arm push-ups, Ed White's running with his dog through the streets of Philly. I mean, inspirational stuff. And we're birds of a feather. You know, I like to surround myself with like-minded people. I've been playing with the same rhythm section for 15 years, and that is in no way depressing. We're best pals. Girlfriends have come and gone. Wives have come and gone. Hairstyles have come and gone. Clothing styles have... We're still playing music together. We still have a deep commitment to that relationship that they have, and we just try to have a collective positive energy. And there's strength in numbers, because it's a really tough business to navigate yourself. So we said, you know what? We're gonna do 3 against the world. And so as we go out, I mean, there was a period there for maybe like 8 years where we were never seen in public without each other. It was like, remember that movie Swingers from the early 2000s? I mean, literally, we would get dressed up and we would go out and we would be seen together everywhere, and it just helped our career because we were marketing ourselves as a rhythm section. And even now the guys have become family men, and I have a cat, so I can get out more often. I'm representing us. I can go out and get work on our behalf. And they can do the same thing. There's so 3 different people, like a hydra, looking out for each other. So attitude, man, I just try to, like I said, just try to be positive. And I tell you what, if I get called to put bands together for people, or to put sessions together, or if I'm co-producing a record, I'm going to hire the people that have a good attitude. I would rather have a mediocre player, not mediocre, but somebody that can get the job done and has a great attitude, somebody that can take direction, somebody that doesn't get offended, because you are constantly going to be given direction. Play more blue, play more red, you're too fast, too slow, don't like the snare drum, ride cymbals too bright, play with brushes, no, don't like that, play with your hands, no, don't like blastings, okay, and you're going to constantly have to take direction, and you can't get offended. And that is just the way it is. This is a service-oriented business. The music, being a sideman, there's 2 ways you can go about it. You can try to be Alex Van Halen, Stuart Copeland, or Larry Mullen, and be the member of a band, what we call them. That's the Holy Grail. It's the brass ring, where you are collectively in a band. You are making democratic decisions. You can decide whether you like the tour teacher or not. Even if you don't like it, you might get outvoted by the other 75% of the guys, but you know what? You're still going to make $1 million off that t-shirt over the course of 1 year. And when you write the songs together, everybody's splitting the intellectual property. And let me tell you guys, as much as I love the money beats are not intellectual property. In the United States, drumming is not considered intellectual property. You know what it is? 3 chords and the truth. Learn 3 chords on the guitar and start writing songs. Because if you get a #1 song, it's $1 million freaking dollars. Okay? That's a lot of drumming. It's a lot. You might not make that in your entire lifetime playing bar mitzvahs. But you can put 3 chords together and go, da-da, I wrote this about my mom. I don't like her at all. Here it goes. And you're in you start the new grunge movement. It's coming back, guys. Look at, he's got Doc Martens right there. So this is the deal, man. I got him too, man. Skill, we're kind of jumping ahead to skill. But let's talk a little bit about skill. You guys, I gave a handout, and it's called More Styles Every Drummer Should Know, okay? Now, there's a lot of one-trick ponies out there in the world, and they're the guys that maybe they have a lot of success. The success is found in them because they're so good at doing that one thing. But how can you help yourself be more successful, give yourself the chance at finding success? Well, you need to learn all these different styles. And even if you want to just be a great rock drummer, it's going to make you sound like a more unique, special, well-versed musical rock drummer, okay? So these are things that you need to do. Now, when I moved to Nashville, we were playing for tips down on Lower Broadway. By the way, we're talking, I had my master's degree. I thought I knew everything. I was like, I'm going to go take over Nashville. Just full of vinegar. I mean, I was ready to take over the town. And I couldn't pay my bills, and I go down to Lower Broadway, and they're passing around pickle jars. And people are playing for tips. I said, Dad, what is going on, man? I've been cultivating my craft my entire life. I don't want to play for tips. He said, son, cream rises. Go down there, learn to speak the language of country music, be a quick study, play your butt off, people will talk, you'll be out. Cream rises. It's science. Cream rises. Look at the French, okay? That's a great thing. You know what? I want to do it like a stand-up night one time because I can't lose. Even if it bombs, it's just like, oh yeah, really, guys? So anyways, but we were playing real country music, and we're talking like, there's a tear in my... Okay, now this is still playing time, right? Bass player wants to rush. Steel player is not helping your cause. Oh, it's playing all over the place. Okay, so you just like, look at just like, there's the right hand pattern, right? Okay, and I'm feathering the kick drum. Okay, so I'm pulling the beater out. So a technique you want to work on. pulling the beater out of the head, right? Which is what I would consider a feminine sound. No offense, it's beautiful. Okay? So if I was playing with a Tori Amos or a Lucinda Williams or something, the beater comes off the head, okay? And then if I want to have a more masculine, studio-friendly, like, I took my testosterone pill today, then the head, the beater stays in the head consistently, okay? So I'll go 2 bars of each.